Therefore, I would like to stop here and to say that we're here to continue with our work. The Commission has almost one more month of work before they pass the testimony to the new elected Commission. I would like to seize this opportunity to congratulate the elected chairperson of the Commission and the elected deputy chairperson of the Commission, who will take charge of the mandate as from next month. We are convinced that they will give the continuity of the work carried out by the outgoing Commission of the African Union, and thank you.
Okay. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to announce that His Excellency João Lourenço, President of the Republic of Angola, Chairperson of the African Union, will hold a press conference in the Nelson Mandela Hall immediately after the closing of this meeting, together with His Excellency, the Chairperson of the Commission, His Excellency Musa Faki Mohammed. And now, may I kindly ask you to rise for the African Union anthem. Thank you.
فعاليات القمة 38 الآن شهدت العاصمة الإثيوبية اليوم آخر اجتماعات القمة 38 للاتحاد الأفريقي من داخل العاصمة الإثيوبية أديس أبابا. وشهد الاجتماع العديد من القرارات التي اتخذها، ومن أبرزها انتخاب رئيس مفوض جديد للاتحاد الأفريقي. انتخب أمس رئيس وزراء الخارجية جيبوتي مفوضا جديدا للاتحاد الأفريقي، وكذلك تم انتخاب نائب مفوضة جديدة والجزائرية سلمى مليكي حدادي بعد منافسة قوية شهدتها لنائب رئيسة المفوضة بين الجزائرية سلمى مليكي حدادي والمغربية الممثلة لدولة المغرب. وكذلك أيضا شهد عنوان العدالة، عنوان هذا العام العدالة للأفارقة ومن جذور أفريقية. أيضا ناقش البرنامج العديد من المواضيع التي تهتم بالعدالة، وأيضا التحسين الاقتصادي للقارة الأفريقية وربط الاقتصاد وتطويره عبر ربطه بين الدول الأفريقية. وأيضا كذلك تحدث عدد من الضيوف الذين أتوا في لقمة الاجتماع الأفريقي، من بينهم أنطونيو غوتيريز أمس تحدث عن القضية الفلسطينية وكذلك عن قضية السودان، وكذلك أيضا تحدث عن الأحداث التي تجري في شرق الكونغو. كذلك اليوم أجرى النيجيري أو ممثل السلم والأمن كذلك بعض المحادثات الخارجية أيضا التي تتحدث عن قضية السودان والكونغو. والآن نقل لكم جميع هذه الأحداث من داخل قاعة الاتحاد الأفريقي على قناتكم POA عربي من العاصمة الإثيوبية أديس أبابا.
And colonization, and to qualify this as crimes against mankind, and the genocide against African peoples. This historical decision, adopted at the initiative of Togo under the leadership of His Excellency Faure Gnassingbé, the President of the Togolese Republic, marks a turning point, a major turning point in the quest of African peoples and peoples of African descent for the just recognition and reparation of the crimes of slavery and deportation and colonization. In fact, the history of the last 5 centuries of the peoples of Africa have been marked by injustice and a tragic denigration of the people. The seriousness of this historical injustice has been criminal acts and well thought out and methodologically carried out, perpetrated against the peoples of Africa and peoples of African descent. That is why Togo decided to ask the policy organs of the African Union the request that led to that adoption of the decision, which meets the aspirations, the deep aspirations of the peoples and the diaspora organizations, the African civil society organizations, justice and reparations.
Of slavery, deportation and colonization as crimes against humanity and genocide against the people of Africa allows Africa to put its own order in the suffering throughout history, to work toward a better knowledge of the painful periods of the continent's history by the younger generation, to begin the work of healing the deep scars left in Africa's societies, to send a strong message to the international community about the threats and expectation for recognition and reparation of the historical injustices suffered by its people, to take the lead on the issues of reparation and restitution, so as not to allow others to dictate the theme of the debate, to deny legitimacy to any rhetoric that seeks to justify slavery and colonization, to have a precise and appropriate language in its struggle to reparation and restitution on the international stage, and to protect present and future generations of Africa and Afro-descendants from the risk of resurgence of slavery and colonization. In its decision, the Assembly of Heads of States and Government invited member states, regional organizations, and organizations of African civil society and the diaspora to take various initiatives to ensure that new generations have a better understanding of the crimes and deliberately concealed sequences of the history of slavery, of colonization. Le gouvernement togolais tient à remercier.
The Togolese government wants to thank the current chairman of the African Union, the Assembly of Heads of State and Government, and the Commission for their sense of historical responsibility which has been shown with the adoption of this decision. On its part, Togo, which has been mandated by the Assembly of Heads of State in order to ensure the leadership, the follow-up of the implementation and the implications of the decision, commits itself to take up this responsibility following this mandate given in cooperation with the African Union Commission and all the member states and the diaspora organizations and also those of the African descent. For Togo, the decision on the classification of that deportation and slavery and colonization have been crimes against mankind, and is a stage victory of the efforts of Africa in order to take up its destiny in its own hands. This decision will make the issue of justice and place it in a historical perspective, and also the reparations at the 9th Pan-African Congress, which will be held in December 2025 in Lomé, Togo, done in Addis Ababa on 16 February 2025. I thank you.
Hello viewers, this is the Pulse of Africa live from here at the headquarters of the African Union, where the 38th the African Union Heads of State and Government is taking place. Now we are at the end of this program. Yes, the 38th Ordinary Session of African Union Assembly has been completed. African head of states and governments, leaders of continental and international organizations, including His Excellency Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations, have been attending this important summit. So far, enormous speeches, inspirational, important, insightful speeches have been delivered. Ethiopia's Prime Minister, His Excellency Dr. Abiy Ahmed, the President of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the Prime Minister of Barbados, Her Excellency Mutali, the outgoing Chairperson of African Union Commission, the newly elected African Union Commission, the outgoing Chairperson of African Union, the newly appointed African Union Chairperson, and the Secretary General of the United Nations, His Excellency Antonio Guterres, and others have delivered their own speech. And you know, most of their speech circumnavigated, revolved, focused on the 2025 African Union Summit theme, which has been justice for African peoples of African descent. So the speech focused on the unity, solidarity, and justice for African people. And of course, one of the most important anticipated aspect of the 2025 African Union Summit, the 38th Ordinary Session of African Union Assembly, with the election of the new chairperson for African Union Commission, who replaced the outgoing chairperson of African Union Commission, His Excellency Faki Mohammed. So enormous discussions have been made, but the most important aspect of the 38th Ordinary Session of African Union Assembly with the election of new chairperson for African Union Commission. So the 38th Ordinary Session of African Union Assembly has appointed the Angolan President, His Excellency João Lourenço, as the new chairperson of African Union. And of course, on the most competitive election, which was held last night, yesterday, the Djibouti Foreign Minister, His Excellency Mohamed Ali Yusuf, has been elected as the chairperson of African Union Commission, replacing the outgoing chairperson, His Excellency Moussa Faki Mohammed. Yes, as you said, one of the most anticipated outcome of the 38th African Union Head of State and Government was the appointment of the African Union new chairman. As we know that the Angolan President João Lourenço has been taking over the rotating AU chairman from the outgoing Mauritanian President Mohamed Ghazouani, and the Angola President had a chance to make a remark on his activity in the coming 12 months, and he said that he's committed to promoting peace and security in Africa while focusing on the Agenda 2063. At the same time, he tried to look at some of the impact of conflict in Africa, specifically on the health, education, infrastructure, as well as the political system and the image of Africa. That's why he called for the African countries to work for the common cause of Africa, which is peace. And he said that African countries should work together or should work in unison to change the narration regarding Africa in terms of peace and security. And apart from that, he also focused on African countries to work together. At the same time, African countries should respect, should trust each other for work for the common cause of Africa. Apart from that, he also tried to focus on the reform of the United Nations. Specifically, he was stressed on Africa should have at least 2 permanent seats at the United Nations Security Council with full voting power, and this really helped Africa to advance its interests at the international forum. The other things related with the AU38, the African Union Heads of State and Government, was the election of the African Union Commission chairperson. As we know that the current Foreign Minister of Djibouti, Mohamed Ali Yusuf, was securing the helm of the AUC leadership. And as we remember, in December, a live debate, the Mohamed Ali Yusuf tried to outline his vision for the African Union in particular, and the African continent and the African people in general. And then at that time, he tried to outline his vision about Africa in terms of just one of the things he pledged to work for is that the strengthening the Peace and Security Council of the African Union, at the same time operationalization of the African standby force related to the trade and investment. He also committed to work for the strengthening the intra-Africa trade and investment. At the same time, he also pledged for working for strengthening the free flow of people and goods in Africa. At the same time, he also pledged to work for the sustainable and predictable financing for the African Union. So we also expect him to work on realizing this vision in the coming 4 years during his tenureship. Yeah, we wish a successful time for the new leadership. The 38th Ordinary Session of African Union Assembly has been completed. The 2025 African Union Summit has been conducted over the past 2 days here in Addis Ababa, the Union's headquarters. So African head of states and governments, stakeholders, policymakers and others have discussed on the super important agenda theme of the 2025 African Union Summit, which was justice for Africa and peoples of African descent. And that brings us to the end of our live transmission from African Union's headquarters here in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Many thanks for being with us and have a good time. Thank you.